Have you ever wondered what comes after death? Since the beginning of time, the human being has been harassed by this unanswered question. We're all aware that the only certainty on life is death. But we want to believe that there's something more after death. We need to think that our passage through the world doesn't end here, and that's why religions have created their own version of it. But some people aren't so convinced of their proposals. However, the world is full of mysteries, and some people seem to have found something surprising and spooky in equal parts. These are portals to the afterlife hidden on our planet, places that can be used by some people to contact the world of the dead. And if you're willing to dive into these stories, you too will discover what's hidden behind these disturbing findings. Number 5. A strange coincidence. Portals have always been a topic of discussion among several people and researchers. Far from being mere fanciful ideas, these are numerous indications that seem to prove that portals have a history, a past, and, if we ever succeed, perhaps a future. Without going any further, in 2007, Professor Mark Hawley and his colleague Bran Abbott decided to undertake an investigation in Lake Michigan. Their goal was to detect shipwrecks or any objects that were lost on the seabed. Of course, they weren't expecting to find much. The expectations were low, but when they penetrated the depths, specifically 12 meters below the surface of the lake, the two came across something very unique. It was a modest but strange stone formation, similar to the famous Stonehenge in England. However, this structure was much older. According to reports, it was about 10,000 years old, and each stone crag was as thick as 5 trees. This was extraordinary. Underwater archaeologists were fascinated. The discovery was absurd and astonishing, for if Stonehenge had been built by Neolithic cultures, there was no way that this clearly man-made formation could have reached the seafloor. However, the most curious thing is that the skeleton of a mastodon was found at a short distance from this rocky construction. Mastodons are ancient creatures that became extinct thousands of years ago and whose habitat was in the Midwest. How was it possible for these elements to coincide in such a place? Numerous answers were given, but the one that has captivated people the most refers to a strange portal that would have connected two places on our planet. Of course, it's completely impossible to verify it at the moment, but all signs seem to indicate that it isn't far-fetched to consider that this could be an ancient portal that has been disabled. Number 4. The Sedona vortex. It's impossible to talk about portals without mentioning the state of Arizona. In this part of the United States, the natives have been living a series of unusual experiences for centuries, which have recently begun to be investigated by some interested parties. According to the stories, in the rocky desert of the city of Sedona, there's a series of beautiful reddish pillars that form a natural gateway that has received the name of the Gateway of the Gods. At this place, the air doesn't have any familiar aroma, but it seems to be charged with explosive mixtures, and those who approach it experience unexplainable currents. The natives claim that spirits abound in Sedona because of the large number of tunnels, vortexes, and doorways leading to other worlds. Traditions seem to indicate that in the past, the Gate of the Gods allowed the living to connect with the dead in a brief and intense conversation. Some accounts claim that several natives made it through the Gates of the Gods and didn't return until many years later. Generally, these men and women came to describe the experience as a blinding blast of light, replete with the reverse sounds of bells and thunder. To this day, researchers continue to find numerous inscriptions, fossils, and all sorts of strange items around Sedona. And, of course, at the Gate of the Gods. No one knows if these stories are real, but those who go near the area return home completely convinced of them. Number 3. A portal to the unknown. One place where strange events always occur that cannot be fully investigated is Area 51. But this time, the mystery isn't in its secret base, but a few kilometers away. At least, this is what Joshua Warren claims. He's an American physicist and researcher who has detected something very strange in the state of Nevada. According to Warren, there's an anomaly between Area 51 and Las Vegas, specifically in the middle of both places, just north of the track. Warren insists that in that tiny space, which goes unnoticed by many citizens traveling on the road, there's a small wormhole that slows down time by 20 milliseconds. Numerous media outlets managed to access the area and carry out different tests, led by Warren, and were able to verify it. A very particular phenomenon is manifested in the place. Here, time doesn't advance as it does in the rest of our planet. One of the few explanations that can be attributed to this fact, and the most solid one, revolves around a wormhole. Is it possible? It's difficult to answer. Inside wormholes, time flows at different speeds and, if real, it could be connecting the Earth with some other place in the universe, as if it were a portal. This could explain the strange paranormal activity and the countless accounts of UFO sightings in spaces close to Area 51. In this discovery, an actual portal connecting the Earth to the galaxy. Investigations are still continuing, albeit under a resounding silence. Number 2. Where the figures disappear. Returning to the east side of Arizona, where, according to numerous hunter and adventurer accounts, certain figures appear and disappear. Ron Quinn, along with his brother Chuck, ventured on a treasure hunt in 1956. The brothers had come to the area hoping to unearth Spanish gold from the past that had supposedly been scattered throughout the desert and mountains of the southwestern part of the state. However, their lust for loot led them to stumble upon something grisly. As the weeks progressed, the brothers witnessed the same terrifying phenomena every night. In the darkness, 2 balls of bluish-green light will emerge and float in the dark sky, and then enter the mountain peaks. Intrigued by this event, after 3 weeks of watching it, they decided to secretly go there and see what was happening with their own eyes. It was then that they discovered something unexpected. The lights were hovering in front of a kind of door formed by numerous natural rocks. At first, they looked like fireflies floating in the air, but after several minutes, the lights descended and acquired deformed shapes, like humanoids that were completely dark and abnormal. Then, they were quickly absorbed by the interior of this mysterious door. The brothers couldn't believe it, so they approached what could only be a portal, but nothing happened. Those were just ordinary stones, with nothing special. The next morning, they went to the nearest town, and once they shared their story, the locals confirmed their fears. That wasn't the first time something like that had happened. Many knew the area as a strange location filled with ghosts and unusual energies. There were also numerous witnesses who claimed to have seen dark shapes disappearing in front of those rocky gates. And others claimed to have survived the appearance of gigantic and monstrous creatures coming to Earth through the portal for some corner of the universe that no one could determine. Number 1. The truth before our eyes. Generally, when it comes to portals, most people think of the most unexpected corners of the planet, but hardly anyone looks to the sky for a doorway that will lead them to other places in the cosmos. However, it could be that we've been looking for answers in all the wrong places. At least, this is what the records seem to be telling us, especially after a phenomena was recorded in Texas in October 1st, 2016, that has opened up numerous enigmas. According to investigations and hundreds of witnesses, at 11 p.m., while people were returning to their homes or watching the city from the window, they noticed an unusual situation in the sky. Before the watchful eyes of everyone, a white light streaked across the sky at an unimaginable speed. It wasn't an airplane or anything familiar. It was moving so fast that not even a military plane could have done those pirouettes. However, the extraordinary happened sometime later, when another much larger light suddenly appeared in the sky and opened wider and wider, like a huge circle into deep darkness. Then, the ship passed through the portal and then the night returned, as if nothing had happened. No one has managed to explain this phenomena to date, but this isn't the only place where it has been recorded. Between 2016 and 2020, numerous witnesses have managed to capture this moment on their cell phones and have seen what happens right above them with their own eyes. There, in the sky, where strange objects seem to disappear as they cross a portal to a place nobody knows. Ground Zero. You probably still think portals don't exist, but science seems to be getting closer to proving not only that they are a reality, but that one day we might be able to use them. They are, of course, the portals of space, the well-known wormholes. According to numerous investigations, these unknown formations are found in various areas of space, and their use would allow any object that enters it to be transported to a different point in space. The nature of wormholes is still completely unknown, but we are getting closer to discovering that portals are a reality every day. Do you think we will ever find out? Will we ever have the ability to easily transport ourselves through portals in the universe? Will we be able to implement something similar on Earth? Maybe it won't be long before we come up with some of these answers, but while that happens, you'd better join us in the following videos to continue exploring the possibilities of our planet and the advancements that science has made to turn fiction into a true reality. Ready? Then take a look at these videos.